All right, we are back. Thank you for joining us, Sabba. It is absolutely amazing to have you. There's very exciting stuff going on with VEED at the moment. We are very excited to get into all of it. But before we do, why don't you just give us a super quick intro into who you are and what you're building?
Sure thing. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm Sabba. I'm CEO and co-founder of VEED. VEED is a video creation platform. We're headquartered here in London. We've got about 10 million monthly users and 4 or 5 million videos created every month through the platform.
Amazing. You're absolutely killing it. 10 million users is insane.
And who are those users? So if I don't know VEED, which I do because I love using video tools, but imagine I don't, who should be using you, or why should they be coming to VEED?
Sure. So, I mean, VEED really focuses on making really great talking head videos. Anyone that's got a message wants to share it, and video is definitely the best way to do it right now. So most people use us for marketing and social media. They want to make that talking head video, make it super engaging, great subtitles, or potentially they want to generate a video to do a very similar thing as well. So yeah, if you're in marketing, want to get a message out there, that's definitely VEED is the place to go. And the other thing that we focus on a lot is like simplicity and like ease of use. So I think so many video creation platforms, even getting the AV set up for this, for example, can be a little bit complex, and we want to kind of reduce that barrier and allow more people to be able to do it.
And so it's both on the editing side and on the Gen AI side for talking heads.
Exactly. I mean, recording yourself can be a bit daunting, and sometimes having AI to do that for you is actually quite useful. It also allows us to allow anyone to create a video who's got an internet connection, access to a laptop. They don't need to be on camera. And I think that's quite important for, making it more and more accessible.
Super cool. And what's like kind of the hottest feature right now? What are people wanting to do in the space of talking heads right now the most?
Honestly, it's really hard to answer that question. Often when you're speaking to your users and you're trying to work out what's the next feature, what should we invest in, what should we build, they don't know what they don't know. So often the things that they ask for is a better version of what you've got, which isn't quite, it's not super useful. So often what we have to also do is spend half our time doing R&D, for example, and kind of thinking, hey, what's next? What could really improve these flows? Something we launched literally on Monday was a video generation model for making talking heads that went crazy. Like the launch, we've never seen anything like it. The videos that went out on social, for example, was like 2 million views in 24 hours. Wow. So yeah, that's a good example of, hey, people don't know what they want always, so we have to do a little bit of experimentation. But yeah, that's how we see it.
When they see it, they know. When they see it, they know that they wanted it.
From the notes on what we're going to talk about today, this is definitely like later in what you sent me. But I think there's two ways to look at it, right? There's like capturing demand, which is more about kind of, hey, someone's got a problem or a job to be done. How can we capture that demand that people already have? But then there's also generating demand, showing something cool that they might not even know they want, but something that can fit into a workflow that they're doing. You have to kind of invent it for them and show them, hey, we can do this, and this could help your workflow.
And has that changed over time? Like, have you focused in the initial stages on servicing that demand, and now you're trying to push the frontier out? Or have you always trying to be like, okay, let's build something that people don't know what they want yet?
I used to have this saying, so I think YC have this thing called make something people want. It's like their famous mantra, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of adjusted it when we started the company to make something people search for. And I was very obsessed with like capturing demands that kind of was already existing. And it was really powerful actually, because it also informed our roadmap. Like we'd kind of build the next feature based on how much search traffic there was for it, because that kind of indicated the demand that there was for it. So that's kind of how we started. It was very kind of scientific in a way, and it was like a process. And I think, when you're number one for not every single search term, but like if you Google AI video, we should come up number one. Where do you go next? That's when the generating demand comes in. And I think that's kind of where we are as a company now, and kind of how we're thinking about marketing as well.
Very cool. And is this, what you're talking to, what you're kind of alluding to, is that Fabric 1.0?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And can you touch a bit more about like what that is and where it's come from?
Sure. So, as I said earlier, most people use VEED for making talking head videos, but always being on camera or hiring influencers to make videos for you can be a little bit, time consuming. And if we also look at like the most popular videos that people were creating with things like VO3, they're just talking videos. Like people love talking videos. So we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could make a model that specialized in doing exactly that? It was designed specifically for talking videos, and the way that we kind of thought about the speed of the model, the quality, and how much it costs for us to generate. We were very like hyper focused on building it to be very performant and very cost effective so we can roll it out to our user base. So Fabric 1 is basically a diffusion based video model that kind of takes an audio stream and then lip syncs that with the emotion to the image that you give it. For example, if I was to have a audio of myself whispering, the model would actually make me lean in and whisper. If I was shouting, it would make me very animated. So it's an incredibly powerful model, and yeah, it's, you know, we think it's going to be really important for how people create videos. And I'll give you a really, really interesting like use case. Like I was on holiday last week. The team wanted to make a video for the launch. I literally just sent them an audio stream, an audio on like WhatsApp, and they made a really high quality video of me for the launch, and I was never even there. And the quality is incredible. So yeah, super cool.
What is needed in terms of input to make that happen? Obviously, of you, they'll have a lot of footage. What does the average user need to do that?
Well, it depends if you want to have like a fine-tuned version of yourself or you just want to use a stock character. So the easiest way to do it is go to the site, click a pre-created character that we have, and then that's mapped to a voice. If you want to do one of yourself, it's just an image of yourself and an audio.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Easier,
Cool.
yeah, easier than being on camera.
Super interesting. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think like I was chatting with a friend about this earlier. Like I think we're moving to a world where like AI is a new camera, like, and people aren't going to be super. I don't know. Like right now, it feels like there's AI content and there's non-AI content, right? Like they're two different things. I think that world is going to merge, and I think people are not going to be as, you know, scrutinized that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking to a previous guest about this, how I mean, Seb and I both love to create content, how today we're still in a weird spot where sometimes just pointing the camera at yourself is easier than going the AI route if you're not so familiar with the tools, because we're so used to that. And so that's where like there's a divide. But how do you think those two sides will kind of grow together exactly?
Well, I'm the same as you. I've got no problems whacking my camera out and just rambling on, and I'm not, you know, I don't care that much about how I look on camera. I just, you know, get it done. But so many people just don't like, I think more people don't than do, right? So yeah, I think, you know, in the next 12 months, we're probably just going to see a world where like you can fine tune yourself very easily with a model and then put yourself in different environments, backgrounds based on what you need, message you need to share. And often with like talking heads and AI, it's often seen within like the business use case and L&D, but I think we're going to start seeing it much, much more in like marketing and on people's websites and on social media as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've recently started doing TikTok, you know, and I've always done content creation on LinkedIn, which is always like written. That's always been the thing that I like doing. But now what I'm doing is I'm taking my top performing LinkedIn posts and I'm recording a video of myself and slapping it on TikTok with like a green screen or whatever. But for me, that feels like a perfect use case where if I could just give it the script of my LinkedIn posts, I wouldn't even have to film myself, right? I could just, you know, use VEED, use my own talking head, and then just have it created for me.
Basically, yeah. I think we should also like not think that this is like a, you know, you can go to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a blog post about, you know, scaling Europe, for example, and it would do an average job to it, and no one's going to want to read it. It's similar video. You could just churn out video after video after video, but like I think creation, right, and like editing really starts becoming the craft to make things important. That's always going to be the case. Always going to be the case. I think taste and creation becomes incredredibly important. Very important.
If you can just create anything, then
exactly.
Really picking and choosing what you should create.
So it's easier, right? It's easier, but then like that storytelling aspect or that creation aspect is the thing that really makes your content different.
And how are you thinking about content creation and storytelling in, you know, I guess your own journey, your own growth? Has that been something that you've tried to leverage a lot of to kind of get you to that 10 million users?
Yeah, I mean, we spent, which was quite weird, a long time, and we still do, making YouTube videos. It's been a really big part of our growth journey. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And often there's some things when you want to get an answer to it, you want to kind of just read that answer. But a lot of the times, if it's using software, you want to see it being done in front of you so you can mimic it, right? So we've been plugging away at YouTube for years and have amassed about 300,000 subscribers across a couple of channels. And those, channels do over 1 million views a month. And it's been really important because when you're kind of, say, for example, someone wants to trim a video or crop a video and they want a tutorial, hopefully a VEED video comes up in that journey. But you're not just educating them how to do it, you're also activating the user at the same time. So it's a very powerful mechanic. And yeah, trying to eat our own dog food there as well and, use our own tools.
Speaking of like growth hacks and getting to where you are now, you bootstrapped at the beginning, correct?
Correct.
We would love to learn a little bit more about that because, there's a lot of capital in the market, a lot of founders raise before having anything. That's almost controversial to start with bootstrapping. We would love to learn why you made that decision and what you think that taught you.
So I first want to be very clear. Originally, it wasn't a decision that I had. It was, it was like there was no other option. When we started the company, I think we were just very scrappy. And when we tried to raise funding, it wasn't the right time. We tried to get into YC, that didn't work. And we were just a bit like, let's just not go that route, basically. Let's just go to the route where we're making like $10,000, $20,000 a month. And this becomes our jobs, right? That was kind of the goal. But the company grew incredibly quickly. It was like, for then, like now, a company growing quickly is like 100 million ARR in 6 months, right? But like back then it was like 1 million in the first year, got to 6 million in the next year, and it was growing incredibly quickly. So we didn't really need capital at that point. When you start, generating revenue, being able to attract users at a really, fast and efficient rate, it just really works. So it's interesting though, because a lot of what we learned then is kind of still in our DNA. We're still very capital efficient. We're pretty much a profitable company. Like we don't burn any money. So it's that DNA has kind of always stayed within us.
And is that affecting how you're looking at the future? Are you thinking about raising again down the line, or are you happy being kind of at that sort of like profitable level?
I'm very happy being there. Yeah, it's good to control your own destiny, right? And I think that. Yeah, I also think that there's a lot of overhead when you have such a large team, communication overhead, innovation overhead, and it's just nice to be able to, be in founder mode, so to speak, and get things done and like be close to the engineers and be close to the product. And I've really enjoyed it. That said, never say never. You don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah, very cool. And when you did raise, you raised from Sequoia, right? That's like, and they must have been so satisfied after like.
Yeah, so we raised from Sequoia probably 3 years ago, and it was a 35 million Series A. It's still the first ever round that we've done, but it's been a great experience, and we've really loved working with the team there. And I think arguably we've built a much better company because of it as well. We've got way more disciplined as well, I think, and and it's also great for attracting talent and people to believe in you. You're kind of like able to have that brand halo of Sequoia rub off on you, and people in tech know what you're talking about when you say, that they're your investors. So it's been really good, and it's also, I think, one of the first investments out of the London office as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, somebody told me that, which I think is like an amazing success and classic Sequoia to like sort of like hit it out the park on their first one. But what was that process like raising from them? Were you able to go with them and show this like bootstrap journey? Did that story really appeal to them? That sort of like scrappy, scaling fast, but like making it work without the funding. Was that what kind of got them on board? Like, how were you able to convince them?
So I can't say from their perspective, but I think from what I've learned is, if you do the work and your numbers are good, a lot of people will be very interested. I was, because we were kind of bootstrapped, and maybe I felt a little bit, what's the word, burnt from the experience. I was just posting our revenue on Twitter like every other day, and so it got a lot of attention. And when you can see the growth rates that you're doing month over month, a lot of people start knocking at your door. So I think a lot of people knocked at the door. And also I think there's a part of, I was like, I ain't doing this, I ain't raising, and I think that also worked as well. So I think just grow, show you've got some good numbers, and I think a lot of things fall into place, you know.
Yeah, very cool. It's a great story. I wanted to ask about your recent hire of, I think, Pete Steinauer.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing that right? He's like an Apple vet. I think he's been there since 1992 in the video application space. What was the thinking? Like, why have you chosen to bring someone like that on as CTO? And how did you convince him to leave a company that he's been at for 30 years to come and join your mission?
Sometimes the stars just align. I'm a believer in the world just kind of aligning for you sometimes, and I think that was definitely one of those cases. I think building VEED is definitely more on it's technically a really challenging product, and there's a lot of technical expertise in the depths of videos when you start looking at codecs and transcoding and all this good stuff. And how do you structure an org to build these products? There's not loads and loads of information out there about how to do it, so we really wanted to find someone who just knew what they were doing and who'd done it before and could like help and advise the company. Also, if I look at the DNA of the company, we're definitely like the scrappy startup, and that's great, but that's not always great. Sometimes you need a very stable product, right? And you need someone who knows how to architect it in a way. And so we're trying to find people that had experience basically doing this. And obviously we got led to Apple because, they've got some of the most popular video creation products in the world. And yeah, as I said, stars really did align, and it's been a great journey working with Pete since he's joined.
Amazing. Yeah. I was looking at his LinkedIn. He's been, I think, in Apple for 30 years, but in video for 15 years. Which is, there aren't that many people who have been working in the early days of video.
I think there's only one person actually, and it's him.
Yeah. It's like an amazing hire. I remember I spoke about it on LinkedIn because we are seeing this trend of, big American tech talent actually coming this way to Europe and actually joining some of the young startups that we're seeing, which is a really interesting trend. But very cool. It's going to be super exciting to see kind of what.
There's a lot of cool things happening in Europe, right? And there's a lot of great advantages for being here. So, I think we're going to see more of it for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe one last question from my side. What is the next iteration? What's the next evolution stage of VEED going to be?
Yeah, I don't want to sound like every other person that's going to say the word AI. But unfortunately, I have to say that just for one main reason. Every single green shoot that we have on every single graph is rooted in AI and generation. I think we're going to be pushing a lot more into creating our own models, but also allowing people to interact with other people's as well. And just really trying to push the boundaries of what we can do with video generation. The demand that we're seeing and the pull from the market is really, really interesting. And I think we're also going to start experimenting very soon. I think next week we're launching one of our fabric model via an API as well. So let's see what happens to that side of the business. But I think it's really exciting. And I've never, since the launch, there's like 100 people in my DM saying, can I have an API? So having that kind of like pull from the market is normally a good sign. And let's see where we go. Who knows what's around the corner? But look, it's an exciting time to be building right now.
Yeah, definitely. Very excited to see what's next.
No, this is amazing. But Sabba, I'm conscious we're just over time. But look, things are obviously going really well for the whole team and yourself over at VEED. It's like super exciting time to be building in this space. We're going to be looking at the releases, using the tools ourselves. I'm going to be like getting on it as soon as I can because it sounds amazing. But look, thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we look forward to kind of seeing you grow even more.
Amazing. Hey, appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So great to meet you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.